It's February 1965. A 17-year-old kid named Tony Iommi is working his last shift at a sheet metal factory in Birmingham, England. Tomorrow, he's supposed to leave for Germany with his band. Tonight, he's just got to get through 8 more hours of bending steel. The machine takes the tips of his middle and ring fingers on his right hand, his fretting hand, the hand that was supposed to make him a guitar player. The doctors tell him he'll never play again. They're wrong. But they're also right. The guitarist Tony Iommi was going to become dies on that factory floor. Something else is about to be born. Birmingham in the 1960s is not London. It's not the swinging scene of Carnaby Street and art school bands. Birmingham is furnaces and forges. It's the city that made the guns and the tanks and the sheet metal. The air tastes like coal smoke. The kids who grow up here don't dream of being poets. They dream of getting out. Or they dream of making noise loud enough to drown out the machines. Tony Iommi can't feel the strings anymore. The nerve damage is permanent. So he does something no guitarist has done before. He makes homemade fingertips out of melted plastic from a dish soap bottle, covers them in leather. They're clumsy, they hurt, and they can't press down hard enough on standard guitar strings. So he starts tuning down, loosening the strings until his dead fingers can fret them. The guitar gets deeper, darker, heavier. This is the moment. Not in a recording studio, not on a stage. In a bedroom in Aston, Birmingham, a kid with 2 ruined fingers is tuning his guitar down into a register nobody has explored. And it sounds like something from the bottom of a well. It sounds like dread. A few streets away, John Osborne is a kid everyone calls Ozzy. He's been in and out of trouble his whole life. Petty theft. A brief stint in prison at 17. He works at a slaughterhouse tuning car horns. Then he puts an ad in a shop window. Ozzy Zig needs a gig. He can't really sing, not in the traditional sense. His voice is thin, nasal, almost desperate. It sounds like a man either laughing or screaming, but you can't tell which. Terrence Butler goes by Geezer because he calls everyone Geezer. He's the reader of the group, occult books, horror novels, anything dark. He plays bass, but he also writes lyrics, and his head is full of visions that don't belong in blues songs. Visions of figures in black. Visions of the end of the world. Bill Ward hits drums like he's trying to break them. He learned jazz technique but plays with a violence that comes from somewhere else. Together, these 4 kids form a band. They call themselves Earth. Earth plays blues covers at first, 12-bar shuffles, Fleetwood Mac songs. It's 1968 and every band sounds like this. But here's the problem, there's already another band called Earth. They keep showing up to gigs where nobody expects them, so they need a new name. Across the street from their rehearsal space, there's a cinema. On the marquee, 3 words, Black Sabbath, a 1963 Boris Karloff horror film. Geezer Butler looks at that sign and has a thought. People pay money to be scared. They line up around the block for horror films. Why doesn't anyone make scary music? Not theatrical scary, not novelty scary, actually scary. Music that makes you feel like something is wrong. Tony Iommi has the answer. He's been playing a riff built around a musical interval called a tritone, 3 whole tones. In medieval times, the church banned it from sacred music. They called it diabolus in musica, the devil in music. It's the sound of tension without resolution. The sound of a door opening to somewhere you shouldn't go. Play a C and then play an F sharp. That dissonance, that queasy feeling in your stomach, that's the tritone. Composers avoided it for centuries because it sounds like something is broken. Tony Iommi builds his entire sound around it. February 1970. Black Sabbath walks into Regent Sound Studios in London. They have 12 hours booked. They have £1,500, money they don't really have. They have 8 songs they've been playing live for months. The producer tells them to just play like they're on stage. 1 take per song, no overdubs, no second chances. The rain is hammering the studio windows, so Geezer asks them to mic it. They record the storm and put it at the beginning of the album. Then those three notes, the tritone, ring out like a church bell from hell. And then Ozzy's voice, thin and terrified. What is this that stands before me? The album is called Black Sabbath. The first song is called Black Sabbath. It's about a figure in black who comes for your soul. Critics hate it. They call it crude. They call it plodding. They call it the worst thing to happen to music. The kids buy 500,000 copies in the first month. Less than 6 months later, they're back in the studio. They need another album fast. The label wants it for Christmas. They've got most of the songs ready, but they're running about 3 minutes short. They need a filler track, something quick to pad the runtime. Tony Iommi plays a riff he's been messing with. 4 notes, urgent, propulsive. Geezer writes lyrics in 10 minutes about a man who's lost his mind. Ozzy records the vocals in 1 take. They don't even think it's very good, just something to fill space. They call it Paranoid. Paranoid becomes the biggest rock song of 1970. It hits number 4 in the UK. The album sells 4 million copies. A filler track recorded in 20 minutes defines their entire career. Sometimes art happens when you're not trying to make art. Sometimes it happens when you're just trying to fill 3 minutes. Over the next 8 years, they make 6 more albums. Master of Reality, Vol. 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Each one pushing deeper into darkness, into weight, into that low-end heaviness that Tony's ruined fingers forced him to discover. They invent doom metal without knowing it. They invent stoner rock. They build the template for every band that wants to make music that feels heavy. And then, like most stories about young men with too much success and too many chemicals, it starts to fall apart. By 1979, Ozzy's gone. The original lineup splinters, but that's a different story. This story is about a factory accident, about a kid who should have quit, about a sound that had no name until 4 working-class boys from Birmingham gave it one. Every band that plays heavy music today is playing music that exists because Tony Iommi couldn't feel his fingertips. Every downtuned guitar owes something to those homemade plastic prosthetics. The Devil's Interval became the foundation of a genre because a 17-year-old kid refused to let a machine shop accident end his dream. Heavy metal didn't come from virtuosity. It didn't come from art school theory. It came from pain, from necessity, from 4 kids who had nothing but noise and ambition and a name they stole from a movie marquee. The machines of Birmingham were supposed to break Tony Iommi. Instead, they taught him how to make music that sounds like machines breaking. The factory where Tony lost his fingers is gone now, but every time you hear a guitar tuned low enough to shake your chest, you're hearing the echo of that last shift, that last day, that moment when everything went wrong in exactly the right way.